right, that's enough of that.
Welcome to Those Guys podcast, where Troy loves Justin Bieber. All right,
uh,
so Troy, outside of you picking that ridiculous song, how are things?
Chris, that was your choice. But
No, it was not.
besides the fact that we had to record our intro like 10 different times because you kept saying you were not ready, and it being 11 o'clock out here in Oklahoma, everything's
It
been
was
pretty
a
good.
rough week of football for me anyway. But, other than that, I'm happy to be here. And Chris, we've officially hit our 10th episode, man. So big deal for the podcast. One thing that I have found out about having a podcast is the hardest thing is to stay consistent with it. And that's what we said from the beginning that we wanted to do. And we're here, man.
Yes, I can't believe it, Troy. 10 episodes already. I remember when we were trying to work on our first episode and we're already here. So good things. And of course, Troy, as we progress and we get better, then, we'll have better episodes moving forward. But exciting stuff. What a milestone. Hey,
Absolutely.
so,
I mean, you're still
oh,
looking like the Flying Dutchman right now, but
hey, you know what? This will have to do for right now. But what I do want to say, Troy, is it's not just because of us that we've reached the 10th episode. It's because of all of you out there, our audience, all of your support. So we appreciate that. And because of that, Troy is going to give $100 to the first 30 people that write in the comments when we post this. So
yeah,
Troy,
that's not happening. I was like, I don't have $100 to give, but
Troy, that's not what you told me off the camera. You told me the first 30 people that comment when we post this, you're giving them $100. So what's up?
out of your bank account, yes.
Hey, well, there's not much in there, Troy. So I don't know where we're gonna find this money.
Yeah, all these players with the NIL stuff these days, man. I mean, they're definitely making more money than us.
No, but in all honesty, to our fans out there, thank you for all of your support. What Troy and I do want to do soon is make some merchandise that has our logo on it and then start sending it to some of our loyal fans. So that is the truth. And we have a plan for that and we're definitely working.
Yeah, hopefully we get there eventually, but yeah, we've already took the initial steps, so now it's just getting it done. But once again, thank you guys, and man, please continue to like and subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, our YouTube's a lot easier to find now,
Yes.
so yeah, just be sure to follow us on all those pages and make sure to promote it. Even if you don't watch the full episode, it helps us out a lot. So, and if you college athletes out there want to be featured on the show, please reach out to us. We would love to hear your story and love to bring you guys on. Like I said, we want athletes from all across the nation, all different sizes of schools, all different classifications. So please just let us know, and we'll definitely showcase your school, showcase kind of just highlight you and your career. But also for you high school guys that are getting interest from different schools and that want to know about different schools, and man, please let us know. We would definitely like to help you out because we have, some pretty good insight. Me and Chris have followed up with all these smaller schools for quite some
Yes.
time, and I have been to some of these college campuses, so I could tell you what you would like, what you probably won't like, and the type of like the style of football that they kind of run down there. If you guys are ever interested in that, please be sure to let us know.
Exactly. Well said, Troy. I'm excited to see, Troy, some of the speakers are some of the guests that we get on our show. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to just see how we put together some really neat speaker series for our fans.
Yeah, especially this off season. And we already have a couple of guys lined up. So hopefully our next guest will make an appearance here pretty soon. So we're pretty
Yeah,
excited about him. And then get that going.
absolutely. All right, Troy, switching gears before we get into college football, our high school, our alma mater, right? Las Cruces High, they were in the state championship. And unfortunately, Troy, they lost by 6 points to the defending New Mexico State 6A state champions, Cleveland and Rio Rancho. Troy, your thoughts on that?
Yeah. First of all, Bulldogs, congratulations on a successful season. You guys accomplished a
Yes.
lot. And in my opinion, you guys had probably one of the toughest schedules out there. And you guys competed all year. You guys put down some big opponents. So, man, hold your heads up. You guys did a fantastic job. Coach Lopez, congratulations. I'm not sure what year of coaching this is for you, but man, congratulations. And, you'll definitely get it next year. And you always run a pretty solid program. So it's always exciting to watch you guys take the field. But once again, Cleveland, I don't know, man. It seems like we're snake bit when it comes to going up against those Rio Rancho schools, but you guys took care of business early on in the season. I was hoping that would be the, same outcome this last Saturday, but once again, nothing to be ashamed of. You guys did your thing.
Exactly, Troy. And when there's two opponents that are that evenly matched, I mean, it's just a matter of a play here and there, or just, a couple things go the other team's way, and that's it. And I think that's kind of what the story was for this game, right? Where, some things here and there, but it was ultimately a close game. And unfortunately, Cleveland won. But again,
Yeah,
like you said, Troy, heck of a season for the Bulldogs, all the players, and of course, all of the staff. They should hold their heads high. They did a great job this year.
absolutely.
All right, Troy. So moving forward, what I want to touch on is, of course, the hottest news in college football right now, and that is the coaching carousel, Troy. We'll start with your guy, Kiffin, making gigantic news, right, Troy? When he
Yeah,
signed his 7-year, $91 million contract to become LSU's new head coach. Troy, there's so much to unpack here, but let's just start with your initial reactions when you heard the news.
man, when I initially heard that he was interested in the Florida job and not long after that they fired Brian Kelly, I knew that was going to be an option for him early on just because let's just be real, LSU is one of those premier schools, right? That's where you want to end your career. That's where you want to build your dynasty. That's where you want to coach because everything will be given to you. And you're in the state of Louisiana, you just have access to some of the best athletes in the country and they want to stay home. So, man, there's nothing like watching a game in Death Valley. I've had the opportunity to make a couple and it's unreal. And I think even Lane Kiffin was kind of blown away making that entrance. But Chris, let's talk about how, man, his exit from Ole Miss was pretty
Wow.
rough. I watched some videos on X, and man, it's crazy. You had people just lining up at the airport just to flip him off and cuss him out. It's
Yeah.
crazy to see where college football has gone these days, and how much money's involved, and how much like different parts of the country. It can be pretty dicey making a move like that, but I'm happy about the pick. I think as far as coaches go, man, I think he's definitely the best coach available right now. If not one of the best, he's definitely one of the best coaches in college football right now. So I'm pretty happy about that.
So, Troy, there's some conflicting reports, and maybe you have clear sources, Troy, but I've heard different things. So I heard, he had to make this move now because of how the college football calendar lays.
Yeah.
I heard that he was kind of being a jerk about it when he was talking to the Ole Miss administration and everything like that, and just their negotiations. And so that kind of prompted him to make this move. I've also heard that what really made Ole Miss upset are that Lane Kiffin wanted to actually coach Ole Miss in the college football playoffs, but Ole Miss told him, no, if you're going to leave, you need to leave, and we're kind of done with you. So what are some of the reports you're hearing? Because I'm hearing conflicting reports on different things.
I have two, but I'm kind of leaning on more towards the one that you mentioned last. Uh, you know, he he worked his ass off getting them to the playoffs, and right now they're ranked number 6. I think he wants to coach them. It's just one of those opportunities, man. There's such a short window for those opportunities, and sometimes you have to just get on board. LSU too. Let's be real. Their administration's probably like, we know we don't know what happened behind closed doors, but their administration's probably like, man, you need to get here. And obviously, seeing the fans' reactions and stuff, it was probably the best choice for him to get out of there early, um, because they weren't. It's not like they were very welcoming, right? They kind of. It's funny how when you make decisions like that, fans will quickly forget what you've done for the program.
Troy, and now that I hear you say that, I'm thinking, Troy, that might have been the best decision, him leaving then, because in the era we are now, right? Think about it, Troy. If he was able to coach in the college football playoffs and he loses, you know how many people are going to accuse him of throwing the game or not coaching hard because his focus and his mind was somewhere else. Also, Troy, say he did lead Ole Miss to a national championship. Now it really looks bad if he leaves because then it's like, why wouldn't you want to continue to build? You just won the national championship with.
Yeah.
So now thinking about it, Troy, honestly, this might have been the best opportunity or the best situation for him taking this job because now he could leave and then whatever happens in the playoffs, it is what it is.
Yeah. And man, let's be real. Like when it comes to recruiting, I imagine it's hard to recruit. I mean, Ole Miss has some incredible facilities. It's a beautiful school, but trying to get people to go to Mississippi and move their life, I mean, that has to be challenging. My knowledge of Mississippi is very little. I mean, I've been there like twice and, you know, it's the southern end of Mississippi. So like, I can't tell you if it is a great state, but I mean, there's just nothing but, you know, country out there. So I imagine it's a little hard to recruit, you know, and going to somewhere like Baton Rouge, you're just going to have, I mean, you just have talent everywhere, man. I mean, you throw a football across the street, you got, you know, you got some 5-star guys there. So yeah, I just think it was one of those things where you want to end your career at LSU or you want to have the opportunity to be at one of the best institutions. Because when people think of LSU, man, there's a huge, I mean, there's so much power behind that name. There's so much power with that title, you know, being the head coach of the LSU Tigers.
Exactly, trying to echo your point. Yeah, I mean, you can't even compare. No, Mississippi, you know, they're a great state in many ways, but in terms of because Ole Miss, Troy, Oxford, right? That's where Ole
Yep.
Miss is in Oxford. I'm sure Oxford's a decent college town, but again, it doesn't compare to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Baton Rouge, capital of Louisiana, number one. Two, just, you know, Troy, just a better, I think for a young, fresh out of high school or a young transfer, there's just more to do, right?
Yeah.
Better nightlife. Of course, from a cultural standpoint, LSU's the cool school to be at. The celebrities watch football games there. They have big time alum, Troy, like Joe Burrow, Shaquille O'Neal. You know, compared to Ole Miss, who do they got? The Mannings or Archie and Eli.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it's a little different, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
As much as I love some Mississippi, you know, soul food, Troy, there's nothing like that Louisiana cuisine, Troy.
Yeah, man.
I mean, just off of pure food choices, I'm going to LSU over Ole Miss every time.
Yeah, no, if we went down to Louisiana and took a job down there, yeah, I have a feeling we would definitely be gaining some.
Yeah, Troy, all that good eating, man.
But I will say this, man, Pete Golding, who's taking over the program at Ole Miss, they've done it seems like from watching the videos. Now we'll see when they actually, you know, take the field, but watching the videos and stuff, you know, what they're trying to do is maintain the momentum going into the playoffs. That's what they're trying to do. And I think that was an easy hire for them just because he's been involved with the program. He's had some off the field issues. I think he's kind of a little bit of a partier, kind of, you know, but the players seem to love him. They seem to really rally behind him. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I wouldn't mind if Vandy doesn't get into the playoffs. I wouldn't mind seeing Ole Miss do pretty well.
Yeah. No, and you know, kind of diving into Pete Golding a little bit, Troy. We know he's spent time as a coach under Saban. So, you know, most coaches that come from that pipeline, right, Troy?
Yep.
They do a pretty good job. Look at Kirby Smart. He was the defense coordinator at Ole Miss, the past 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah,
So,
I know too for sure.
and he's had success, right? And then he just has a lot of coaching experience in different roles and capacities. You know, looking at some of the schools, Troy, that he coached at, UTSA, Southern Miss, Delta State. And I think there's one more, Troy, but still, he just has a wealth of coaching experience. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think that Ole Miss and the Ole Miss community, they're going to rally around Pete Golding, and we'll see what they do in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, man. Hopefully they do well. You know, you hate to see a team lose their head coach. I mean, hell, we felt it when Jerry Kill left.
Yes.
and all the players leave. The transfer portal, man, it hurts watching players come and go. But you could be it could be a double-edged sword, right? There's so many players coming and going, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what they do for, signing day is here, so we'll see what they do.
Exactly, Troy. Going back to Lane Kiffin, Troy, something that I heard about his contract, Troy, but what's circulating around is that part of Lane Kiffin's contract at LSU is a $25 million package, which means he can use that $25 million how he sees fit to recruit talent to LSU. Troy, that is dangerous, man. I don't know how many coaches that have that type of treasure chest right there to use. Again, we've talked about it. LSU is already a top tier destination for top recruits, right?
Yep.
And then you're able to pay them more. You're able to put together some really good NIL package deals for these kids. And you have up to $25 million to use. Good night.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, Troy.
but man, also there comes a lot of responsibility with that too, because if you have $25 million to use and you're not winning games or you're not making the playoffs, you're falling short in the national championship. Yeah, man, you're gonna be on the chopping block pretty quick. So Louisiana, they obviously have the New Orleans Saints there. There's a lot of good football programs in the area, but man, LSU's the team. So they're going to want to see LSU succeed, and they're going to do whatever they can to put them in position to do that. But yeah, it's especially this day and age where you could actually pay players. That's big. Hopefully get some momentum, because man, even watching LSU in this past weekend against OU, it's so unbelievable, like how someone's offense, like LSU's offense out of all teams, just can't get going at all. At halftime, the score was 3-3. That was disgusting. So I hope to never see that again, especially against OU. And man, yeah, that was a rough one to watch. So,
Troy, so I want to lay this scenario out for you, and I want to see where you're, and trying to stay as unbiased as possible and as objective as possible, Troy. This is the scenario I want to lay out for you. Do you think Lane Kiffin going there will mirror Nick Saban's departure from the Dolphins and going to Alabama? Or you could even say Urban Meyer going to Ohio State. It will mirror what they did? Or will it mirror what happened with Jimbo Fisher, where Texas A&M offered him a gigantic contract, and then he ended up fizzling out there?
Man, I want to say that Lane Kiffin, he's going to do a good job at LSU. I think he could definitely mirror what Nick Saban did, in all honesty. And the reason why I say that is because Lane Kiffin has rebuilt himself. He has been fired from jobs. He's been let go, right? Whether that was the NFL or the, USC Trojans. But man, he's rebuilt himself. And what I mean by that is he's went to schools like Florida Atlantic University, who was in Conference USA at the time, and has taken them to 10-win seasons. He's completely rebuilt those programs and has sustained success and has done more with less. So what I'm hoping to see is if they equip him with the right tools, and Chris, I guarantee you that Nick Saban, I know for a fact that LSU is going after Nick Saban. But Nick Saban, obviously, he's close. He's pretty much close to 70 at this point. If not, I can't remember how old he is, but he's up there, right? He doesn't want to get in coaching again. But I guarantee you he had a recommendation, and that recommendation was Lane Kiffin.
Oh, yeah. Aren't they close, Troy?
Yeah, pretty close. Obviously, Lane Kiffin was on his staff, and obviously Nick Saban thinks very highly of him. So he definitely credits his, offensive mindset.
Exactly. No, that's awesome, Troy. All right, Troy, staying with the coaching carousel, how do you feel about John Summerall leaving Tulane and going to Florida?
Green wave, man. First of all, I like watching Tulane play a lot.
Yeah.
They have a fun offense to watch, and let's be real, man. They have one of the coolest logos in college football. A fighting green wave, like, come on, that is awesome. I will say, I think he had a solid team this year. I got to watch him in person whenever they played Tulsa this year. Man, I think he'll be a good fit out there in Florida. I hope he does well. Like I said, I like his coaching style. Their offense probably wasn't as sparky this year, but we'll see what he does in Florida. I'm sure he's going to do pretty good up there too. I don't think he'll be at Lane Kiffin's level, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm not eating my words later. But I think he's going to have a pretty good career out there, and I think Florida got a pretty good hire. Now, I will say this: I thought Coach Galesh was Alex Galesh from USF. I thought he would be getting the job in Florida if I was being honest, and it wouldn't have been a far move.
Yeah.
And then he ends up going to Auburn. Man, what's crazy is we had 4 coaches from the American Conference get the call to go to the SEC. So yeah, I mean it's pretty cool, man. It's some weird times that we're living in right now, but are not weird, but it's cool to see these coaches get their shot.
Exactly. Troy, the last thing I want to say about coaches, at least at the FBS level, is Troy, let's name are those guys coach of the year. All right,
so
Troy.
since we hit our 10th episode, it's the end of the football season. We decided that we got to start giving out some awards to some of these coaches and players that we see or that we spoke about all year and that have lived up to expectations. So, Chris, I got to let you do the rest there.
All right. So are those guys FBS Coach of the Year is none other than Jason Eck at University of New Mexico. Coach Eck, tremendous season, great job. We thought that UNM should have been in the Mountain West Championship. I guess the computer said otherwise, but nonetheless, excellent season, Coach Eck, and hopefully we can get you to watch the podcast. We will send you a official Those Guys t-shirt as your trophy for being the Those Guys Coach of the Year.
Man, yeah. So Coach Eck obviously has done a fantastic job with UNM. I mean, they're going bowling first time since 2016. But man, and Chris, you could vouch on this. How long have I been talking about Jason Eck?
Yeah, you've followed up with him for a while, Troy.
Probably obviously before he was hired at UNM. I remember telling you, whoever picks this guy up, man, I know Idaho grabbed him right now, but I'm like, whoever picks this guy up, they are going to have a phenomenal coach. And when he got picked up with Idaho back in 2020, man, he led them to, they had a winning record. They went to the playoffs that year. Following year, they had a 9-4 record. And then went to the playoffs, lost the first round or the quarterfinal, and then also took them to the quarterfinals again in 2024, and they had a 10-win season that year. And if you guys don't follow up with Idaho sports, they struggle in football. It is hard they actually went down from FBS to FCS. That's a rare move to make. Usually you want to move up, right? You don't move down. They were struggling. However, Jason Eck completely turned that program around, made the Kibbe Dome somewhere fun to watch football because, man, it was extremely loud in there. And it was cool to see those stands completely packed. And what he's done with New Mexico has been completely incredible. 9-3 record his first year, and they should have been in the Mountain West Championship. I think what killed them was losing to San Jose State early on this year. Other than that, I mean, they beat San Diego State. They beat UNLV. Those two teams were leading the conference at one point. They fell short against Boise State, but played them tough until the very end. So I would have liked to see that rematch again because I guarantee you Boise State doesn't win that against them again. So.
Agreed, Troy. I think they beat Boise State.
Chris, even me not really being a huge Lobo fan, obviously I'm an Aggie fan, but man, I'll pull for every school in New Mexico that, has success because college sports is not known in New Mexico. But my brother, obviously a Lobo, so I always follow up with that team. I've had some teammates play for the Lobos, so man, I always try to watch the games when I can and support them. But man, I'll tell you what, that fourth quarter, shout out to Albuquerque because, my gosh, you guys had that stadium rocking. And that played such an impact on it in overtime whenever San Diego State kept, getting those offsides calls. That, gave the defense so much help. And man, that was a huge part of the game. And it's incredible to see what Albuquerque did and how they rallied behind the Lobos. I hope Las Cruces can do the same thing and rally behind the Aggies. Man, it doesn't matter what the record is. You need to support the team because the fact that we have college football down there and the fact that there's college football, good football being played, go out and enjoy the environment because it's here. and you don't want that stuff to go away.
I agree, Troy. And yes, please, Las Cruces, support the Aggies next season so that we could have a strong home field advantage for our team. And then, they could win games and go to a bowl, right, Troy?
Yeah, I mean, man, that helps out with recruiting.
It does.
What you don't realize is like the money that you spend at those games. I mean, that's going back to the athletic program. So the more that you, I guess, invest in the program, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah.
And that's what Jerry Kill did really good. He did a really good job of rallying the community, and there was just a lot of people anxious to go watch them play, and and it worked. So yeah, I mean we'll see how that works out next year. And I know Tony Sanchez, he's been trying to rally the community again, and hopefully let's just get the ball rolling again.
Exactly. Go Aggies, go, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome, Troy. Okay, Troy, and then now I want you to do the honors, Troy, because we have our Those Guys FBS Player of the Year.
Those Guys FBS Player of the Year. That goes to Diego Pavia.
Hey, go Pavia. Pavia
But
fries.
Chris, yeah, absolutely, man. I hope to see him get a Heisman, and I believe he will, man. And I'm hoping some miracle happens and they end up in the playoffs, Chris. I remember early on in our season, I mentioned I want to say Vandy and Vanderbilt at the same time, so I messed that up. But I was talking about how I wanted to see them go to the playoffs, and you looked at me like I was crazy. So, but it's okay. You're not the only one, man. I got so much hate on Twitter like a year ago or 2 years ago about that. And man, I'm stoked to see that they're in a good position, and we'll see what happens. But Chris, I also want to add Those Guys Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Jackson Eck. So man, yeah, transferred in from Idaho with his dad, and you got to see the father-son relationship there. But man, this guy belonged on the field. I mean, he was a straight up animal. He would fly around and just make plays everywhere, man. Had a motor and just went nonstop. He played a huge factor in their win against San Diego State. Every big win that they've had, he's been a factor. So, man, congratulations to Jackson Eck. You will also be added to that list as well. Also, Chris, I also wanted to add Those Guys podcast Division II Coach of the Year.
Hold on, Troy. Hold on, Troy. I think we should save the FCS and D2 awards for next week.
Okay, let's do it then.
But to keep it consistent with our FBS awards, Troy, since you gave a Defensive Player of the Year, I want to give a Those Guys FBS Offensive Player of the Year, and that would be Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame. Now, Troy, I get it. Notre Dame kind of played a cupcake schedule, but Jeremiah Love has been killing it.
Yeah.
And my second thought was to give it to Pavia, but we already gave Pavia the overall Player of the Year. So I believe that the Offensive Player of the Year is Jeremiah Love.
All right, man. And once again, yeah, Notre Dame's playing some good football team. I can't say that I'm overly thrilled that they're in the playoffs because I'm one of those guys that I'm like, dude, you guys need to join a conference and you guys need to play a little bit of a harder schedule because it drives me insane. I will say, man, comparing resumes and stuff, Vanderbilt, they played a gauntlet of a schedule, man. I mean, week in and week out, like they had to show up and they had some pretty big wins. One of their first big wins against South Carolina. South Carolina was ranked 11th when they played them. And I know people are like, well, South Carolina didn't finish very strong. Yeah, but when you take an early loss like that, you're probably going to lose some momentum going into the rest of your season because when you get popped in the mouth, sometimes it doesn't feel good and you might not react very well to it, right? So, man, like I said, I hope Vanderbilt makes a playoff run just because, man, that team was fun to watch and they have so many good athletes on that team. I want to see them compete at that level.
Okay, yeah. No, that would be exciting. Troy, if Vanderbilt somehow wins it, I don't know what to do, Troy. Like, they're not my favorite team, but I would be really excited.
I like the underdog story, Chris.
Yes, I agree. I like it too. All right, Troy. So now switching gears completely, let's talk about the FCS playoff bracket and how that's going, Troy. And maybe some of your surprises, as well as some of your thoughts on who's going to go all the way.
Yeah, man, Rhode Island had a pretty big win over this last weekend. They played Central Connecticut, and I don't think Rhode Island has had a playoff win in for some time. So to see them get a win at the playoff, that was good to see. But Chris, I do want to say Yale and Youngstown State was a fun one to watch. Yale was actually down. It was like 42 to like 14 at one point in the fourth quarter, and Yale came back and beat Youngstown State to advance. So now they got Montana State. It's going to be a little bit of a tougher game for them, in my opinion, especially traveling up there to Montana. But man, it is yeah, it was some exciting action there, Chris.
Oh yeah, 43-42. What a game! Huh?
Yep.
Let's look at this side of the
Cold
bracket,
football
Troy.
for sure.
What was that, Troy?
I said definitely some cold football.
Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh, definitely.
I got a little chilly.
Okay, Troy. So on this side of the bracket, who do you think's gonna win?
Man, I'm gonna be pulling for either Tarleton State or Montana. So, FCS championship is gonna be played in Texas. So, man, it would be cool to see Tarleton State win it. And yeah, I mean, but I could definitely see Montana win. They're a tough team, but those are the teams I'm be pulling for. But they're going to have their hands full against South Dakota State. Tarleton, they're going to have a tough matchup with North Dakota. The good thing about playing obviously they're playing in Texas, but if they were playing in North Dakota, it wouldn't be an issue because North Dakota plays in the dome, not the Fargo Dome. North Dakota has I forgot what center it's called, but yeah, theirs is indoors as well. So weather will not be an issue. Who do you got going on in the FCS? You never really talked about who you want to win.
Well, Troy, so I'll pick two things. So the team I want to win is Lehigh. I just think that's a really cool school, and I'm rooting for them to go all the way, Troy. But the team that I think's gonna win it all, Troy, is North Dakota State.
Yeah, North Dakota State is just one of those schools, man, that's always just tough. So
Exactly, Troy. Hey, Troy, so what do you think is more likely to happen? A North Dakota State versus South Dakota State national championship, or a Montana State versus Montana national championship?
man, I will say a Montana State.
You think so?
Yeah, South Dakota State, I think they got beat up on earlier this year. I think it was against North Dakota State, but if, that shows up in the playoffs at all, I mean, that could cost you your season. So
Exactly.
Montana State and Montana, they've been playing some pretty good ball all throughout the year.
Troy, you know who I think you want? You know who I think you want to win and go
Who's
all
that?
the way? I already know. Abilene Christian.
I wouldn't mind seeing another Texas school win it, man. Abilene Christian, that'd be good. They obviously made that jump to D1 not a couple years ago, probably about 8 years ago. But they were originally in the Lone Star Conference. I'm gonna give you a history lesson real quick, Chris. So they were in the Lone Star Conference, had success there. They were always one of the tougher teams, made the jump to D1. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them be successful and win a national championship too. That'd be great. So definitely pulling for all the Texas schools and, the Montana schools.
Exactly. All right, Troy. So now that we touched on the FCS playoffs, let's switch to Division II. So Troy, what are some exciting reactions from last week's games in the Division II playoffs?
The one D2 playoff game that I followed up with was University of Texas Permian Basin and Western State Colorado. Both teams been really good. UTPB actually pulled it out at the very end, so they went into overtime. Tough game, and now they're going to have another tough matchup this week.
Yeah, Troy, hey, UT Permian Basin, they're on a nice run, huh?
Yeah, no, they are, man. They're like I said, I'm pretty impressed with their coach. They have a very good defense, and they are just a tough team to play. So right now they're sitting at an 11-2 record, but they have Harding University, who I can't remember if they won it last year at the D2 level, or I know for a fact they were in the D2 national championship game. But yeah, they're going to be playing against Harding this week. So that's going to be a tough matchup, man. So Harding's ranked number 2. Um, and they just whooped up on Pitt State, which isn't easy to do. So,
Troy, how do you feel about your Pittsburgh State Gorillas being knocked out?
man, like I said, I was hoping that they would go all the way, but Harding, it's one of those guys are just one of those schools, man, that it's tough to get wins there. They run that option style offense, and once they get going, it's tough to stop, especially at that level.
All right, Troy, let's go to the other side of the bracket real quick. Troy, is anybody going to stop Ferris State?
I don't know, man. That's a very interesting question. Once again, very fast. They play very physical, and they're used to the elements up there in Michigan. So they're playing good football, and we'll see what happens there. I'm not able to see. Do you have the D2 bracket up? Because I'm not able to see it. It's just showing the FCS bracket.
Oh my goodness, Troy. Did it not switch over? Okay,
No, it
so
didn't.
Let me share the D2 bracket. Here we go.
I was like, I'm going off of just pure memory here. So there we go.
Here you go. And then Troy, hey, cuts down. They're a tough team, right? Those Pennsylvania schools are tough.
Man, they are. They are. And I could see them going to the national championship as well. So there's still some good football being played at the D2 level. Be sure to check it out this weekend. Obviously, there's not going to be as many college games going on since it's just going to be a lot of conference championships being played. But try to check out one of these games. So Newberry too. They're one of those schools that is pretty tough. I mean, they whooped up on West Florida, and West Florida is a pretty tough school. So, yeah, make sure to just tune in and pick a school and ride with them the rest of the way.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of really good things happening, Troy. FBS conference championships, FCS and Division II playoffs are underway. If you get an opportunity, go out there and please watch ball. That's the fun part. Doesn't matter what level, just go and watch ball. Troy, with that being said, the last thing that I want to tell our audience is, hey, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Those Guys Podcast 2025. We'll have when we post this episode, we'll have the link to our YouTube in the bio, and we'll have the link to our YouTube on our page. So please go subscribe on our YouTube channel.
You should be able to just find it on Those Guys now. So Those Guys Podcast. So
okay,
be sure to just check it out, subscribe. Just so we can we want to build that good foundation for next year. And we're going to be posting videos all throughout the year. But since we're not going to be doing the weekly updates as much, just because there's not as much football going on right now, but we still will keep up with what's going on with signing days, what's going on with, the off season stuff, and hopefully have, like I said, a couple more guest speakers on. That way going into next year, man, we could bring you guys some more exciting content, because episode 10 was big, and honestly, Chris and I, Chris was the one pushing this more than me. So, I definitely thank him, because he got me going. We talked about it. We wanted to do this podcast, but man, I honestly, raising 2 kids, I didn't know if I had time to do it, but I'm glad. And Chris hears me on the phone all the time, going back and forth with my little ones, but I'm glad that we've made the time to, set it aside and do this and start it. So this was an idea 2 years ago, and we let 1 year go by. We almost let this one go by. So at times it may have been a little unorganized, because we don't have time to prep. We don't have time to edit. We don't have time to, get everything that we want to talk about. But we're finding a rhythm. We're finding a good routine, and we're sticking to it. But we're also going to add some new stuff, which is what we're excited about, whether that's guest speakers, us going to different games. We're going to try to make some bowl games this year, so that should be pretty fun. We're hoping to make the Sun Bowl, hoping possibly making the New Mexico Bowl for me. I don't know if Chris will be available or not, but like I said, we're gonna try to go out there and we're gonna try to make some stuff happen. But once again, if you know an athlete, if you're a former athlete, man, please let us know. We'd love to get your story out here and showcase that.
Exactly. What we want to also include moving forward is, we want to eventually we want to make our episodes interactive. So, hey,
Yeah.
we might ask you all, what do you want to see? Or what type of series do you want to see moving
Yeah.
forward? So that's something that we want to increase is our fan interaction.
Yeah,
We're
if
gonna
you
work
guys
on
could think
that.
of a school that we're not touching or that we're not talking about that you guys want us to talk about, I don't care how small it is, let me know and we'll make it happen. So we want you guys to be entertained and we want to cover the stuff that you guys are interested in. And we also want to get you guys interested in new things too. So yeah, if there's something that you guys want to see more of, please let us know. Please leave comments. That way we know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad on, and hopefully figure it out. Because if if there's no criticisms, then how are we going to get better, right? So obviously we're getting better little by little, but man, please let us know. Please interact with our videos. Please share them. Even if you
Yes.
don't watch the entire episode, please like it. And let's just keep these things circulating because going into next year is going to be the money year for us.
Yes.
We don't do this. We don't do this to make money or get rich. We do it because it's a hobby and it's fun.
We have
So,
it
and
on.
it gets us excited to know that you guys are, happy and interacting with these videos as well.
Exactly. And guys, please, please, please give us some different schools that we haven't touched on. Recommend some different schools to talk about because that way we don't have to hear Troy talk about Snow College for the 50th time.
And talk about stadium capacities and all that.
Yeah, that's okay. I think you mentioned the same, 3 NAIA schools every other episode.
Maybe I'll try to do a better job mixing it up next time.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for our special 10th episode. Stay tuned for episode 11. And we're excited. Those guys.
Yep. Thank you guys. Hey, take care. Okay. Have a good night.